Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GAN's plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balanced fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered, which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
The process of understanding is very simple. The process is, as I explained last time, I explain more in detail. We are created out of the rays within the center of the universe. In interaction and reduction in strength and division by the strength in certain strength fields, in collection of the totality of the expansion of the universe, some energies, some dynamic fields have come together. Over billions of years, these fields lead to the creation of what we call the sun. Where the plasma gathers together. The same process repeats again because the sun is the same as the energy center of the universe. Now, the heavier, the larger amount of the energy which is collected in this span of the universe, called the sun, that it radiates out, does the same thing again. Radiates fields out, and in interaction with the itself, with the fields of itself, leads to creation of planet. In that process of the creation of planet, the same process happens again. In the interaction of the fields of the earth with its environment and cooling and exchange with the strength of the other things in the environment of the space of the solar system, leads to creation of man, cell, matter state. And that itself, in coming together and slowing down in such certain ways, as we call, leads to another sun. We call the soul of the man. This is the truth about the life and creation of the man. But if the soul of the man can understand and absorb and be correct with his conduct, he can become the strength of the fields and carry the strength of the field of the planet which came to his creation. And if the soul can understand with the same process, can interact, can be correct, can absorb with itself the totality of the strength of what it needs, he shall become the sun. And the same soul has the energy that it can absorb within the solar system, within the galaxy, shall become the center of the universe. This happens on earth, we call it the rain. Come from, goes back to. In the solar system, we call it planetary system. We come from the rays, we become the planet and go back to the mother. Same thing happens with the galaxies, with the solar systems, which they get absorbed back in and chewed up back into the universe. The life, the process of existence in the universe is the same. It doesn't matter on what exchange and what extent. So, what is the man fighting for? Why do we fight for something which has come from the point of the creation, and in the process it goes back to the creation? The soul of the man as the energy of the earth gives the face of the man, the face of the earth, and that process is the same for the soul of the man. Our soul, in reduction in strength, in interaction with the emotion of the field of the environment, leads to manifestation of the existence of the man. But once it's completed, does it need the face? Or can it be and becomes free from it, what we call the soul of the man, to be free and detached from its existence? Our soul is part of the process of the creation. The key to one question for man shall be in the future to be answered. As we saw the sun became the earth, and as we saw the earth became the man's soul, what would be the destiny of the soul of the man now becomes free at the point of departure from physicality. Would it become the sun for creation of another life, or many lives, or correction of lives? This shall be, and this is how it happens. When you create a soul which is not correct, which is misconduct by itself, cannot give, you lead to the creation of this next cycle of creation, which has started the wrong way, the wrong strength. This is one thing the man has never understood. You become the creator of another universe, another cycle. And this is what you have to judge with the structure of the soul of the man. What would I like that cycle to be? In the physical life, we create children. In the dimension of the life of the soul of the man, what that soul will create. If man has thought up to now, that's it, my end, my point, when I die is finished, there's as much fallacy that when the sun is destroyed in any shape or form, there shall be nothing left. But we know the parts of the sun becomes part of the galaxy and becomes part of the new life. So shall be the soul of the man. The judgment of the man has to be according to what he sees the future his soul can conduct to be. The day of judgment is for the man, not in front of the Creator. That what my soul judges to be and what shall create. Man never understood and shall never understand till it can solve this dilemma within itself. The reality is very, very, very real. And that is, as we've seen, the energy of the galaxy becomes the sun, the energy of the sun has become the earth, and the energy of the earth has become the soul of the man. So shall be the soul of the man, which is the energy itself, another cycle of life. How can you change when you don't understand? How can you change the process of understanding if you do not understand the process of the creation? Do we need to extend the understanding of the man that what is the future he brings? We care about our children, what education they get, what they wear, how happy they will be, where they sleep. Now the man has to be careful and consider, what life shall my soul create? Because those are the children of your soul. As we see, the rays of the sun has become a planet and 7 million children on it. 7 billion unlimited, which is growing. So the soul of the man will go through the same process. How many billions and subdivisions and sub-matter state of the physicality of the man your soul shall create? Would it be the soul of wars and conflict and ever killing? Or would it be the soul of this, let's say, the solar system, which is peaceful? This is the truth and the reality of the soul of the man. First of all, as I said many times recently, we never understood that the soul of the man is within the structure of the man. And now that we understood, we understand on departure from the physicality of the man, the same process will carry on as it did for a star planet. And the soul of the man becomes another energy source, a higher order, which itself leads to the creation. It becomes the star, it becomes the center of the new cycle of creation. This is what the human race has to understand. The cycle actually starts at the point of death and not finishes at the point of death. In so many ways, if one understands, is as the dusts, specks of dust came together to make the earth in the solar system, so has the specks of the atoms has come to be the creator of man. And the essence of the creation of the specks of dust on the solar system has led to the creation of the man. So shall be the fields from the soul of the man, which lead to creation of another cycle of life. What kind of life man would like to have to be created by his soul? This is the day of judgment. This is what man never understood. Now you have to understand. You have no choice. Up to today, you were not aware of it. From today, you are aware of it. You are responsible for it. Your conduct has to be to elevate your soul. That in elevating the soul, what you become the creator of stands correct in the conduct of the citizens. We don't give fairy tale. This is the truth. But as you've seen, the process does not stop with one sun. The cycle carries on. It's very interesting in how humanity, now knowing the fact, will handle the fact. It'll take decades for man to understand, and then you understand those who become the tools of war, the tools of conflict. They have less, they have nothing to start with. They have to become the dust in the solar systems of the others till the day they learn more, as they cannot create a new cycle through their own soul. This is the elevation of the soul of the man. To be part of the creation of a beautiful life for the next cycle. When you don't have it, you have to become another cell in the body of the structure of the bigger, for you to be just there that you can run when you could have been the soul of the man. They say, do not create fear. I give you the point of love for creation. If you cared about your children on this planet to have the best, your true children come out of your own soul in a coming time. How would you like to educate them? How would you like to be when you are in conflict with yourself and the cause of so much mayhem? This is the truth, and the man will take a long time to understand, as now that we understand the soul of the man is the operator for the creation of the future extent of the life of the man. Whatever is gathered by the soul at the end becomes his point of reference of his own creation, of his own dimension. But the strangest thing is, what he creates from his soul shall become the creator of the other souls. This is the beauty about the creation, and one understands it, understands no limitation. Any questions?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 374th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, April 1st, 2021. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond. I'll be a host today. And as usual in these Knowledge Seekers Workshop series, we are joined with Mr. Mehran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And I believe he's ready to go to deliver today's teaching. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, Nick. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation, the Spaceship Institute. We have entered a new cycle of teaching. And in this cycle, as we started last week and the week before, brings us to a new dimension, new totality, and new, what I call comprehension, total comprehension of life in the universe. In a way, we were citizens of the universe, part of the unicosmos, but we always consider ourselves lonely people in a village of man called Earth. Now we are trying to open the eye of the man to the totality of the reality, the truth about his own creation, about not only the present, but the future of his cycle. In the teaching last week, we started a process of understanding that the creation of man started with the soul of the creator, and the process of transition led to the life of the man. But one position is very crucial for the man himself, and that is, as we heard in the intro, if this is the soul of the creator, and if this is the soul of the man, how many cycles have we gone through over billions of years to reach to the soul of man? Don't forget that each time the sun has to radiate, the fields have come together in one way or another, that in their interaction with the other fields in the universe, which has come from another cycle of the same process, or reduction of the fields of the same sun, leads to the creation of next cycle. And then again, how many times the same cycle with the interaction of the other fields, and you have to consider the span of the universe, the size of the universe, that how coincidental these two have come to be, that they lead to the creation of another cycle we call the cycle of next generation. Then you understand the process of two lives to be exactly the same across the universe is literal impossibilities, very remote. Considering we consider the life of the planet Earth of the man, 4 to 5 billion man years. How many billions of years and trillions of years we go backwards? Then you understand the creation of life in the universe is very much accidental, coincidental, and by many strengths, unbelievable. But somehow, these interactions across different dimensions, across different interactions, across many, many cycles, lead to one thing, and that is replication of life in one form or the other, but somehow very similar to each other. The truth is, we are not the only one in the universe, as the same cycles of coincidence and accidents and interactions has taken place due to the randomness and the vast essence of the Creator's energy across the universe. Maybe in one way or another, what we call our universe is this one, where the others have created their own universes out of what they are and what they could be. But the most interesting part is, as we said, where does this go? What is the next cycle which comes from the souls of this planet? Do our souls collectively will lead to creation of the new universe, created by the strength of the field of the man, in common denominator from his amino acid. And in so many ways, life becomes very complicated. And in so many ways, mankind has come to find out that his arrogance to be the king of the animals just lies truth within the boundary of his own skull and no further. Imagination of the man and limitation of his understanding of the truth about the world of creation. In so many ways, if we extend the knowledge and with the introduction of the new technologies which understands the totality of the process of the creation, would the mankind be able to create a condition to take this journey back? Or are we still, as we said, that mixture of moisture within the atmosphere of the earth going upwards, waiting to become that raindrop to come back? How many more cycles the cycle of the life of the man and his souls has to go through to, that it reaches the point of balance and maturity with the Creator, that he finds his way back to Creator, raised back up. But then it raises another question for mankind and soul of the man, that would we go through the same cycle of increase in strength on our path? It took us trillions of years to get this way. How many trillions of years our soul has to mature to get back to the Creator, to the essence of the creation? Mankind will realize even his thoughts are what I call imaginary line of interactions of the fields that can be read by man himself, understood by man himself, and within the limitation of the structure of the soul of his own creation in interaction with the fields of the planet. The fields of the sun, the fields of the galaxy, the fields of the universe, which is created out of. Our limitation of understanding lies within the strength that the central point of the universe, part of our unicos, has allowed us to see and to understand. Unless we reach a point that we can elevate the soul of the man in a strength that it becomes so insignificant in respect to the soul of the Creator, that it gets fed, it gets absorbed, it gets fed in the cycle of creation, in the totality of the return to the soul of the Creator. Then you come to understand one point. By the law of the plasma, the strongest feeds the weakest. Now we can understand how humble the Creator is, that even the small fraction of the soul of the man is so strong that it needs to feed, to be going back to rain back up on. Then you understand the level of servitude and what I call sincerity of the soul and understanding of it. Some souls will reach that point in the process of the creation, and they will return to the point. And depending on the strength of how they return, will come into operation. Would mankind become kind to his own truth, that he is not what we call the king of animals, what we call the Ashraf al-Makhluqat, what we call the creator of all, where he himself is created out of interaction of coincidences, of many, many coincidences by chance. But there is one point that humanity has to understand. How come that does not matter what direction we take, somehow life creates to be the same at one point or another in physicality or understanding, that we can see the other creatures of the life of the universe. This is what will come and boil down to. What process has the Creator created that does not matter which path of the strength of the lines of his soul is taken, it will lead to the dimension of the life, comprehension, love, care, reproduction, and the interest to travel to see what other creatures are created from the radiation of the souls of the Creator. So many ways mankind needs a long time, very, very long time, to understand more about the process of his own creation, to become part of the process of what I call Creator's soul. Even though as he is to understand it, to comprehend it, and by servitude, become detached, that it can allow him to lead him back to the point of the creation. The reality for totality of mankind's understanding of his own creation is his own lack of understanding of his own Creator. We imagine how our Creator is. We imagine how we will be to be with him, to be part of him in a way to bring a new change, to bring this new understanding, to lead to creation of more, that the more we show and love the Creator more by giving to him and receiving, he creates more. But where does the cycle of creation ends? Where does the cycle of the Creator ends? And is there an end and a physicality to the Creator? And at the same time, as we said before, what's the purpose of him creating when there is no one to love except within self-satisfaction of the love of Creator for himself? And there is no such a thing. So it has to be a structure. It has to be all this done to show the beauty to another, that it can attract and lead to the better. In a way, we see with the birds, we see with other animals. They dress up themselves, they change their colors, they change everything to show their beauty, that they attracts another to confirm their existence. Then why the Creator creates such beauty and so many lives within the structure of his creation? To be shown, to show his love to who? To be the reason for existence, to be the reasons for confirmation of. The fishes change their color, they dance. The birds change their feather color, and they do all sorts of things, as we've seen over the teachings. The mankind dresses himself, paints himself, and marries into to bring joy and happiness within the structure of the physicality of the Creator, or is what we do part of the Creator to show his beauty to his lover, that it leads to confirm the existence of himself. And in so many ways, it brings us back to the point of who is that lover? That the Creator does his best to show the best of his attributes, to show the best of his beauty of physicality to the lover. And isn't it in the essence of what he thinks we think, because we are part of the fields connected to him, that it tells us about the Mitra, the lover. And in so many ways, the children of the birth of the true love, to become the creation of the soul and not the creation through physicality. Mankind looks for the dimension of physicality, physical birth to confirm, where the soul of the creator with the soul of Mitra leads to the creation of the child of the universe, the lover of all, where we all love and loved by all in one sense or the other. In so many ways, his thought has become our thoughts, and in so many ways, we have set the sense and the scene for it. Later on in today's teaching, after the break, for the first time, most probably some of you know, the Iranian team has traveled to the city of Hamadan, where the temple of Mitra is, where the true civilization about the creation of the soul of the creator has been explained to man, but it had to be siphoned in a way that the man could understand. The temple of Mitra, built thousands of years ago, as usual, as ruins is left of it, in essence tells us about the lover of the creator. It tells us how mankind has to come to love to create the condition of dimension of the soul and not in the dimension of physicality to receive the confirmation of existence. In so many ways, mankind becomes to understand part of the process of creation. Our children would not be created out of the dimension of physicality as we think, but the true children of the soul of the man will be created out of the soul of the man itself. And in that process, mankind becomes, in reality, in total understanding, part of the process of the creation. The way the creator creates and not the way the man has seen children of him to be born in the dimension of physicality. The new cycle of life, starting from mankind, would not be in the dimension of what we see in the physical dimension, unless the soul matures and decides to manifest itself. The way the creator has created itself in a dimension to be loved by Mitra, by his lover, or what we have been come to understand, the Adam and Eve, where in so many ways, in the Iranian language, what we call Ahura Mazda, the creator, where is loved by Mitra, always stands behind as a support in a way to confirm its love to its creator. In the pictures you will see from the ancient time in Iran, you will understand how Mitra elevates the soul of the Ahura Mazda, the creator. And mankind in the cycle of the other books written in other names, be it the Torah or the others, have changed it to Adam and Eve, have changed the process of lover and giver. In so many ways, mankind will come to understand what you have changed into Adam and Eve in the ancient language where they got the whole thing from, called Mitra and Ahura Mazda. In a way where Ahura Mazda is the creator, and where this creation gives the crown of love and eternity to the kings of the land, where the knowledge to be spread has been given. In time, we'll come to understand that all the religions of the present time, from Abrahism to Buddhism, come from the essence of Mitra, essence of the creation of Ahura Mazda, and it's changed name as it's changed time and the place. But in essence is the love of the creator, or the created, what he calls Mitra, the lover, the part of creation. And in essence, now for the first time, not only for mankind, but the totality of the creation is the time of understanding that existence does not have to be in the dimension of the physicality of the birth, but giving birth to the dimension of the soul, that physicality will manifest itself in any dominion as it feels like. As we saw in the process of one field to another, we always thought and we considered that the process of the creation will come in the same cycle through the creator to the other dimension of physicality, where now the dimension of the creation has been repetition of the interaction of the soul of the creator with the soul of the created, where one has led to the dimension of creation, and in one point or another, if it has decided, has manifested itself in one or two places in a dimension of physicality, and today in the dimension of physicality of the man. Does the creator need to confirm his existence always through the dimension of the physical observation, or does he do it through the interaction of the fields? Then there is a huge point of understanding for mankind. The point of understanding is very simple. Do these fields interact, and do these fields in one point or another become those pack of energies that in elevation of the soul of the man and interaction with the physicality of the man, we call them viruses? Would we recognize the energy pack which has arrived to us is from the soul of the creator, or the division of the fields interaction of the universe? Would we stop this elevation of the souls through lack of our understanding to elevate our soul? Or would these souls interact in a dimension that brings fear to mankind in understanding his own kind? Then the question lies in one point, and that is what you call the virus, in one strength or another, is the savior of the soul of the man. And in not understanding it, trying to eliminate it, we eliminate the link which has been the opportunity and the possibility for the man to find a path to the creator as this received the dimension of the soul, not the physicality of the creator. In so many ways, when do we and how do we distinguish between the what you call energy packs, which are there to harm man, and energy packs, now that we understand, there to elevate the soul of the man without the dimension of physicality? Even though in elevating the soul does not need the dimension of physicality, or elevates to such a level that what we call physical death becomes part of its interaction. Would humanity understand this process? Would we become wise to understand the whole understanding? Would mankind become so mature that does not consider every energy pack as part of the creation, as to be harmful, but is actually the savior? In very similar way, do we call what comes to us in the name of Corona as a savior for elevation of the soul, that those who receive it elevate to that dimension, and what we see physical death is actually elevation of the soul of the man to reach the soul of the creator? And why has it come to this extent? And why there are so many people who encourage this process, trying to stop and trying to benefit financially? In fact, they're helping the mankind to find a shortcut in bringing the whole of humanity under one banner to elevate the totality of the soul of the man. This is why, in understanding and teachings of the present time, we don't look at the Corona as a disaster. We look at the Corona, maybe, if you understand it, as a shortcut path to reach closer, one step further to the soul of the creator. And does it mean that as we see deaths to come from the elevation of our physical soul to the soul of the man, a shortcut to the dimension of reaching closer to the creator? I am a believer of the second. because I know the path. As I said, the corona is not what it's made to be because man always looks at it that way. But in a way, if mankind understands, it has shown the lack of coordination amongst the leaders of the man to understand that what is come could be the path, a shortcut to elevate the totality of the soul of the man and his creation and his creator and those and things which are created on this planet. The animals get corona as much as the plants. I wonder, would the stones reach the same level? In so many ways, have we found the path to the creator, but we are so ignorant that we are destroying it. And those who are the physical intakes of financial gain is important to them, lead to bribery and the rest to promote the vaccines to stop. The vaccines to be used and stockpiled. But is the use of the vaccine a way to stop the elevation of the soul of the man, which has been gifted by energy packs? In the world of creation, we have no dimension of physicality, but interaction of the field. I put this question across because many of you see corona as a death, as an end. But to me, as a man of universe, knowing, understanding his potential and his capability, would that bring the rise of the soul of the man, that the dimension of physicality stays in the matter state, and in the increasing and elevating the soul of the man so rapidly allows the man to reach a level not only to detach from physicality, but to enter a closer step to soul of the creator. In the future, it's the responsibility of the scientists on this planet to distinguish between the two, to understand which field is there to serve from the soul of the creator, as we call it, packs of magnetic fields, and which ones are there that they can reduce the strength of the fields to lead to the demise of the man. Does not matter what frock we wear, a man from Earth or from planet Zeus or from another point in the universe. We all are subject to the same rules, to the same process. And it'll be interesting if we see the men of universe who are amongst us suffer from the same problem as we do with what we call corona. And if they do, does it mean that the love of the creator now spans the whole universe, irrespective of the race and position we come from? Be it Chinese or white man or a man from Africa or from planet Zeus or any other destination, are we all getting hit by the virus we call corona, the crown of the king, the creator? In so many ways, mankind has to understand this process and understand that lack of his own understanding can stop his progress to reach the soul of the creator. Those of us who have passed away due to corona, have they been elevated to the dimension and direction of the soul of the creator? And this brings huge questions for many of us and many of the world leaders. Are we spreading these, whatever we have created, to stop as a way to stop the soul of the man to elevate and to suffer more? Have we stopped the path to the creator? Are we taking bribes and become angels of death of the soul of the man? We cannot ignore these facts. We cannot walk away from it and just blame it. The judgment has to be with the soul of the man and every single soul to accept the elevation. Because we always say, even the reason I play the intro this time again, and I play this very often, is for you to understand every time a new understanding from it. We talk about elevating the soul of the man to leave physicality and becoming the dimension of the fields of the universe that it leads to a position better than itself, to be closer to the creator or on the path back to the creator. But what in essence means have we all understood the purpose of it? Or can we use the new technologies which is developed through understanding of the gas processing? We allow not only for the corona to interact with the soul of the man to elevate it, but we elevate it and support it in a higher order, that the physicality and the soul of physicality and the soul of the man become closer to each other to have a path on the way back to the Creator. Could this be the next virus which will hit us? That it will be the line from the fields of the interaction of the soul of the Creator. In so many ways, in the Iranian Corona 2020, in a very hidden way, I tried to explain, and in the teaching of last week, I tried to hint it that you might understand it. In the report, we talk about every organ in the body of the man, how it's being affected and how be affected. And if this corona or another corona energy pack arrives, would we know if this is from the love of the Creator or is a harm to the man? Just because we see a number of us die physically, that we call in the recording of the intro is the elevation of the path to the Creator. And would these, all the way we call it, injections or whatever, are stopping the man to reach the soul of the Creator? Now you understand the process of the creation. It's a sword with two edges. Which way do you want to cut? When we speak in the report, in reality and totality about different effect of the corona on the body of the man, and as we have said before, in the original report to the governments, we set it out very clearly. The 26 ways that this virus attaches itself to the body of the man. Isn't that a sign and indication that this thing is there to elevate every part of the man, to make a man a peaceful man, to change man from killing to loving? Is Corona the real crown in the understanding of the elevation of the soul of the man, where in elevating the soul there is no need for physicality? Then this brings a new dilemma for many of you. Do I accept everything with it, which others are trying to make financial gain from it, as the mask, as the injections and the rest, a way for stopping my soul to elevate it to the soul of the Creator? And the biggest question to ask, and we've seen in many, many Iranians who we talk to, and they've gone through, and the others, they see a different path after Corona, because maybe their soul has been elevated to the level to understand the path to the Creator, where the physicality does not exist and matters. We've seen that with a member of the Universal Council members from Italy. In going through the process, she has become elevated to understand the factors. The truth has the dimension of physicality, has the same meaning as before, or detachment. We've seen it with other members of the Universal Council, as the soul is directly connected to the soul of the Creator, in accepting to serve, have chosen the wrong path. And they've shown the clear path that the essence, the soul, is not matured to be there to be servitude. And even they've gone through the path of the Corona, the elevation of the soul has not taken place, has been so low that even with Corona has been elevated, but not to extent that it could serve. In so many ways, this brings a new dilemma for many of you. Are we going to catch Corona deliberately to see if our soul elevates and we can be detached? Or are we going to accept the man's physicality of drops and drips to delay the process of the unification with the soul of the Creator at a higher level? The truth is, as we saw in the first picture, We are part of the cycle of interaction of the fields of the universe. And in so many ways, we have to decide. And do we add to it to find the path, the correct way, and to be the strength that leads it to path of the Creator? As you can see on the table, we are near Easter. And we always associate Easter with a lamb. And we know the story of the lamb and what happened with the prophet of God when it was offered to be sacrificed instead of the child. Is that child our physicality in a dimension of the lamb? Or is that the dimension that we decide that is not the time and we sacrifice no more, but we become aware of the truth about their existence? In so many ways, is the lamb and is the egg, which is the creator of a life, sit within us. We create and we sacrifice one to another for elevation of the soul of the others. And with it, we create a new soul, a new understanding from our soul that it leads to elevation of the soul of the totality. We become that sun, even in the dimension of physical existence. We become what you call the prophets of the soul of ourselves by elevating to serve the others. In so many ways, at this point of time and what we call space, how many of you have matured to understand the totality? How many of you have become mature enough to understand the reality that is the virus a key to the path of the Creator, or is the virus the path to show us that we've been elevated to the point of both existence in a physical dimension and in the dimension of the soul of the man? One day, we will understand. One day, mankind will become mature to this point. But the truth sits in a very, very, very different direction and dimension, which the man at this point has not understood. It's too feeble to understand it, and in so many ways, its position in possessing and wanting to have leads him to the dimension of attachment and the dimension of physicality. Now you understand why I always say I'm detached, but I enjoy the love of the man. Because with it, we give more. And with it, we extend the dimension of the soul to be able to serve more. Never mankind has been so close in every sense, technology, comprehension, fields, interaction of the universe, than today and these times, that man can merge, elevate the soul, teach the physicality, and share the knowledge across this planet simultaneously, that we collectively choose the path to the Creator, to serve and servitude, to become one soul, to be able to reach to that point that maybe collectively as a soul of the man, we take a step towards what we call that mist of fields that become that drop of rain. Many, many pieces of molecules come together to make one drop. And is this the time of the maturity that man, in the understanding of totality of the essence of the creation, becomes that drop? That in totality, as a race of this planet, including every other thing, we become and reach the point of solidification of maturity of the soul, that we create that soul drop that interacts with the soul of the Creator and be attracted to the love of the soul of the Creator and take a path to the Creator. Is mankind on the verge of that process to change from a mist, something nothing can be seen, to become that drop of rain, to become that planet which takes the course back to the Creator and to the oceans of the love of the creation? My answer is one day, and that is yes. The collective maturity of the soul of the man in the time when both physicality and, in so many ways, the reality of understanding of totality has reached, that we are on the verge of becoming that drop of rain, that drop of soul, and that point when the totality of the soul of the created on this planet will take the step to convert from a mist to a drop, from being nothing to become the totality. Maybe, after all, is for us to tell our leaders we want the corona, but in a way that we accept it to elevate the soul of all of us. This might sound very, very opposite to what you think, but as the messengers, we know the truth. We are aware of the facts, and in so many ways, we allow this to happen, that man in totality understands the greed for physicality and extension of the life, but man in reality has come to the point to understand that the life of the totality of the souls of the created on this planet has reached a point of maturity where the soul of the man and the physicality of the man can elevate at the same time and change the course for mankind. Not out of the fear of what Corona does, but out of the pleasure that what it will bring us, to bring us together. It has brought us peace. We do not move a soldier. It has stopped wars out of the fear of catching another. It has stopped us going to football matches to show the love and to each other, than being on the opposite side of the fields. Does not matter who scores the goal, we cheer for both sides, because it elevates both the physicality and the soul in both dimensions. Would the mankind reach the point of maturity to understand the truth about his own creation? And is the process of Corona for the first time hits all of us that collectively mature? And we have seen it amongst the plants, and we have seen it amongst the animals. So knows no limitation but to expand and extend the soul of the creation and the creator, both in the dimension of physicality and the dimension of the man itself. One day soon, the mankind will know the truth. As we open the doors for you to understand the totality of the creation. Are we the angels of death, with accepting whatever is put to us by our leaders? Or are we the angels of peace, that through it we understand it's time to join, to rejoice, to be part of the Creator? Do we still see death as a point of demise, or do we see the physical death as a point to join the Creator? Have those who have died from the corona disease become part of that process, waiting for the rest of us to join in, because they matured faster than us? They became the first seeds of the process. And in a misunderstanding of totality of the rulers of this planet, we have come up with all sorts of tricks to save money and create money for banks of the physicality, where we actually saving energies and fields of the souls for the maturity of the man, the first moist, that it becomes collectively that drop. There is a lot to understand. There is a lot to mature into. My talk does not go to you as the knowledge seekers, but my talk goes to the world leaders of this planet. Are you trying to stop the process of the Creator in elevating the soul of the man, that the dimension of physicality is irrelevant? Or are we still looking at the bank balance in the Swiss banks to stash it away for the others not to know, to be used for the arms and conflict of the future? In so many ways, we are at the conjuncture that we have to decide which way do we go. Do we sell and wear the Western clothes, or do we sell and wear the Eastern clothes? Or does not matter what we wear, we still stay human within it to be able to serve, to elevate the soul of the man, that we don't see Corona as a path of death, but we see Corona as a path for elevation of the soul of totality, to become the first drops that has matured us to stop the fighting and stop the process of killing each other. We did not stop. So the Creator, through a love and essence of his own creation, has brought the condition of what you call a lockdown, that he cannot even move a soldier. That man learns gradually over a year, 2 years, we've been peaceful. What's the use of having the armies? Isn't this the love of the Creator for man? You did not do it, we asked you. Now when we ask for the world peace and the Universal Council prayed for the peace, we gave you that opportunity to create a condition of lockdown, that the man locks himself down and gradually through his soul walks away from wars, from conflict and killing. In so many ways, Corona is a blessing for mankind from the love of the Creator, but we do not see it. We have not had the vision to understand it, and now we understand. We did not do it, we got forced to, and the more it comes is Easter time. In most of the Western world, which have developed most of the weapons, even the arm factories are closed down. The workers are locked down 24 hours a day during the celebration of the time of the elevation of the soul of the Christ. How more insultive could we be unless we did not learn, and we are forced to learn? The truth sits in the love of the Creator, not in the virus which the man is afraid of his own demise. You don't do it, we'll find a way to push you to do it. Today, I wear a flag of China, convert to the, what we call the European style, where the two merges together because the love for China and the West sits the same as much as crosses the Middle East and brings the love of the man. Maybe knowledge seekers understand. You wished for peace, and in very short time, the Creator answered your love for peace, for creation of the peace. How could you have peace? How could you create a condition of peace if your soldiers were still out there killing? I was talking to my son a couple of weeks ago, and he says, "Papa, we are soldiers on the internet." I said, "What do you mean?" He's a part of the British, what we call territorial army for 20, nearly 15 years. He said, "I'm a soldier, I don't carry a gun, but now my training is on the internet. I don't come anywhere near the army." I said, "What kind of army are you?" He said, "Papa, this is the new army. We just talk. We cannot do anything. We cannot even go to be near each other to be proud that we are. We are proud on the internet. We become internet army and with no teeth. But it's a very good fun." I said, "What happens?" He said, "We play a lot of games and it's nice games, but we don't kill each other anymore. But we still get rid of the pressures of thinking we are there to serve a nation." In so many ways, the wishes of Universal Council to create peace and the wishes of the universal community to wear peace has ended up with marches on the street for decades, and now is ended up with marches in cities where people want to be free to get the Corona if it's there. We've seen it in the largest cities around the world, people marching, they want the ban to be moved. If it's a Corona, we want to have it. We never seen this, but we changed the march pieces of 1980s and 90s to the marches of let us free to elevate our souls in the past few weeks in the major cities around the world. Is this the elevation of the soul of the man? Is this path for the man to find his way to the Creator, and collectively through our souls, we want to become that drop We want to be part of that drop, to be in existence, to be proud to our children that when Corona happened and mankind stopped the war, we started the process of peace, and we became close enough that no man touched the gun. It's interesting when you cannot be on the street, when there's no bar open, you cannot commit no crime. And this will elevate the soul of the man. We make man peaceful drop by drop. And now maybe the world leaders understand why Keshe Foundation has taken this place and this step at this moment of time. Because you call it Corona, we identified that we can elevate every part of your soul, we can reach it, animals or the others. And in that process, we have brought you a truth and reality. We encourage man through the books of God for centuries to become peaceful. I went from deserts to deserts over centuries in different names to create a condition of peace. Man's physicality and greed did not allow it because he had to be called something or the other, a race or the other, a king or the other. But it was, as we said, we elevate the soul of the man for the physicality to follow. And which way better than to elevate with the fields and the energies of the creator? You call it the virus. We call it the love of the creator. And in so many ways, as I said very recently, if you look at the death rate of the man with winter influenza and the rest, nobody has died. Very few, where every year we get massive number of deaths, 1 million, 2 million from winter cold and influenza and the rest of it, and we give our elderly injections and the young. But this year, figures don't exist as such. Not many of us have died of influenza. Has the soul of the virus has elevated our soul that the minor viruses don't touch us? But those of us who reach the maturity of the soul take the path to the creator to become that beginning atoms of the first drop of rain of the soul of the elevation of man, for mankind to reach the soul, find the path collectively with all the created on this planet to the creator. You did not listen when we asked you for the peace. We brought you the condition of peace. This is why a few weeks ago, knowing this, I asked for the armies to become the armies of the culture, teaching and elevating and creating education and the rest. This is why I refer to the white revolution, the white of the light of the soul of the creator. In so many ways, we have prepared mankind as mankind was not prepared itself to walk the path of peace, that we brought you the lockdowns. What you see as a way of locking you down to become peaceful. Not as a punishment, but as an encouragement that mankind can, mankind will, mankind in totality will take the path to the totality, to the creator. As I said, you don't do it, we do it for you, and with the love of the soul of the Universal Council, in connecting to totality, we have brought that condition forward. It is not cynical. It is the way man has done so much sin that it had to be washed, it had to be stopped. In so many ways, you will see the next process through this elevation of the soul of the man, through energy packs, through the energy of the love of the creator for the mankind and all kinds on this planet. This is the way we have to understand. This is the way we have to see the path. In so many ways, you made armies to destroy and kill each other. Through the same process, we show you the armies that from now on leads to the creation of love and peace. We have started the process of unifying the armies and the forces together. I have called upon the Chinese leadership through the Keshe Foundation, our connection in the Chinese national securities, to start the first phase of the interaction of the two military forces of Iran and China in May, to start joint military forces of the space deep travel. We know the answer from both sides is yes. And in that process, we bring the next steps forward. As the Chinese Keshe Foundation, who are translating live, have already conveyed the message to the Excellency President Xi of China to national security, is that in May, the Iranian forces and the Chinese military space will work together to set the first trials for a travel in deep space. Subsequently, if we reach the understanding with other nations, we'll move to the next step. In the last communication with some German businessmen, we put this proposal forward that we welcome the German scientists and government into this fold of the operation between the Iranian scientists and the Chinese. This is part of what we call CEBRO, where we start not having armies to fight, now armies to work together and their scientists to develop the deep space travels. And the Keshe Foundation, with its new position in Iran universities, we will set the course of these scientific meetings as part of our work. We expect in May, back end of the May, the first meeting of the Iranian and Chinese scientists to take place in Tehran, in what we call National Defense University. That by putting that live, the other scientists will come to be as part of. We see the end of the conflict between India and China as both interact in CEBRO to deliver mankind safely into space, where the armies and the knowledge of it will be used to elevate and work out the poverty in the nations, not with the arms and the tools of conflict, where in reality does not matter where we live, as long as we all live comfortable with access to all the amenities the life of the physical man needs. I have started the process, and again, thanks to the Chinese team, and I hope with the others will come the same. We will see the beginning of the dividends of Corona. In a way, armies cannot move, but those who travel on the dimension of the Corona and the teachings and understanding of the process of the energies of the universe will take mankind into a space very rapidly. It's time for mankind to mature. It's time for mankind to understand. It's time that you did not do it. We are doing it for you. And in so many ways, it does not matter in a way of what we do. We have to understand one thing. The love for mankind does not come with a frock and the clothing or the language. Comes in essence by the truth that the love of the soul of the man sits within the structure of the physicality. Would we become wise? Would we become mature enough to understand this process? As I said, we have started a new path. Every time is not to show you what or to show you a tool, but show you the power we work through the soul to deliver what we want to do. As I said, we forced the Americans to retreat in the condition in south of Iraq, in the faith to defend the soldiers, to show the armies have no power. The most powerful nation in the world was cornered in the rat holes of the basements, even 11 meters down the hole. They were affected in their ears and their emotion. We showed that the war has no room, again, with advanced technology, which comes from the peaceful nation of Iran. Now, we encourage that force with the collaboration with the Chinese to extend the work of the space technology. And with it, defense technology for the space, how to protect us in the deep space. The color of the skin of the man or the race of the creator in the universe will have no priority in respect to reaching the soul of the creator, except those souls which serve. In so many ways, when the soul of the man, totality of the life of the created on this planet, reaches to become much more humbler than the soul of the Creator, then we'll be enlightened with the soul of the Creator that elevates us to the point of understanding the creation and the process of the creation and the created. Maybe from today, we look at the corona totally in a different way than we done up to now. Maybe we understand it as a process to elevate our souls to the dimension and direction of the soul of the Creator. Maybe for the first time we understand why we don't bear child, because the child is in the essence of the soul of the child, not his physicality. And this is the message which has been kept away from you for a long time. It's not the physical body counts, it's what we embedded as the soul of the child. And that's what it counts, that it touches the rest of the soul of the mankind. That child has already reached many. And the secret of physicality has been the dimension of the man to understand. Now we understand the truth. Now we understand why the soul was created and the physicality will not follow, as it's taking a dimension to serve the totality. My love for mankind has no limit, but there's a mankind which sees the love in the dimension of physicality. We talk in open, that's understood by all, not kept secret by a few. In so many ways, man has to mature to understand that it's the dimension of the soul which decides the dimension of physicality, and not dimension of physicality through the eyes of the physicality to see the dimension of the creation. I have created my child in the soul of the child, not in the soul of physicality of the child. And this is what the man has to understand. As I said, I'll explain the secret, and now you understand the secret. The love of the Creator sits with the dimension of his soul and not the dimension of his physicality. We did not see the Creator all the way from his soul to man, but we saw his transfer of energy across the soul of the physicality. In so many ways, maybe for the first time, many of you have become to understand what it means and what it will take the man to be. In so many ways, mankind has to understand that the kindness of the man comes from the kindness of his own himself to the kind of the man he wants to be in respect to the other souls. As I said, we forced you, we taught you, we sent messengers to make you peaceful, but you didn't take any notice. This time we send the soul of the Creator in the dimension of the energies that you have no control over, that we could touch your soul. In so many ways, we brought you the message and the peace on the 21st of March as we promised, but you did not see it. You waited for the dimension of physicality to manifest, and you tested everything to confirm. But you missed the main point. The soul of the creation, the soul of Mitra is amongst you, and he set his seed amongst you as men to bring you to that point of peace from 21st of March. We did not break our promise. It was you who did not understand the truth and look for the dimension of physicality. In so many ways, we work our way till you become mature enough to understand that it's not the man and the dimension of his physical eye to confirm the existence, but the love of peace which is spread across man in the past week. Mankind soon will understand, and mankind soon become mature that the soul of Mitra is amongst you. We have created that soul, and within it, we allow man to be loved by the Creator as the Creator loves Mitra so much. The process of what you see in the video of the Mitra is the beauty that the member of the Universal Council of Farsi herself was present in going to this place. They were supposed to travel to another point in Iran for the new year, but out of nowhere they ended up to end in Hamadan area and to end in the temple of Mitra. There are no coincidences. There is nothing kept hidden. But as you don't understand, we do things our way, because it's the way that the soul of the man will teach the man, not the physicality of the man, to follow this, what we call the path of the past. In so many ways, as we say, you were caught sleeping while you were fighting the corona, while you thought the corona is the worst thing happened to you. You maybe missed the chance that was the purpose of it, that it reaches every organ, every part of the man, from his soul to his physicality, to the lung and the liver, to his heart, and to every muscle of the man. Mankind should have asked one question: what is the reality behind this? What is the strength of the soul behind this extension of the fields of the universe? Has the Creator taken time to, in a way, process the mankind through his own weakness and allow the elevation of his soul? Mankind needs to understand that from now on has to distinguish between the fields which reaches its soul and physicality. Are they there for its benefit, or is it there to serve another, irrespective of time, position, and the rest? Mankind needs to mature to this point, that it does not see every energy pack as the way of its demise, but by mistake, like this time, we will understand that this is the love of the Creator for man. We asked you for centuries. We went from temple to temple across the planet to encourage man for peace. Man did not listen. We brought you the love of the soul of the Creator. You called it the virus. We showed you ourselves what it is, and now you understand the purpose of it. I wonder, would you still take that injection, or you allow your soul to be elevated, and in that process, if it falls short, you support it with the ganses to make sure that you elevate both in the dimension of physicality and the soul of the man at the same time. As I said, teachings take a different course. I'm sure none of you were expecting this course, and there are many more surprises. There are many more surprises for those who look for the dimension of physicality. There are many surprises for those who do not understand the work of the Creator. Do not do what we ask. We'll bring it for you to do it with pleasure and voluntarily. You march the streets of London, New York, and the rest for peace marches to keep the soldiers inside the borders, and we brought it you the love of the Creator through what you call Corona, the king, the kingmaker, the peacemaker. Maybe mankind becomes soon aware of what a gift and the beauty has been given to man to find through this, what you call virus, the process of peace, the process to understand the totality. In so many ways, you are checkmated. In so many ways, we got it our way. In so many ways, do not follow. We give you another virus in another dimension where your leaders will lock you down because the whole of the nation is locked down. No army moves, no military shows, no sales of equipment, of military hardware, because nobody has any army to move. Gradually, in the next 12 months, we bring mankind to the point of not having any armies to find solution for peace, but finding solution how to dismantle these armies to serve the nations. In a new position, mankind will find a lot of strength. And with it will divert its resources of military hardware to what we call space hardware, space understanding, new technologies for space development. And as I've said, today, Iranian Keshe Foundation in their new offices in Tehran, the Tehran office has to become the center of peace negotiations for all the nations. Not peace on this planet because we have created it, but understanding the peace in interaction with the universal community, in understanding the next phase of totality. The visit of Universal Council member to Temple of Mitra had the reason to bring alive the process of the soul of Mitra, to bring it through the Universal Council and the soul of servitude of the Universal Council member to humanity. We will see how we have kept the soul of Mitra alive through the temples of it, through the fires in the temples of Zoroastrians, through the love of Ahura Mazda, and the kings, which is the soul of every man, not the physicality of the man with a frock and a crown. We have crowned you all to become the king with corona. It's you who have decided which crown you want to wear. The crown of kingship of the creator or the crown of the king of the man, and all is weaknesses. In so many ways, many of you will have to start thinking in we elevating our soul and the soul of physicality together to understand, to become peaceful, or we wait for another packs of the energies of the soul of the creator. I have made man in the image of myself, not in the dimension of physicality, but as a level pack of energies, which you call viruses when it needs to be. I manifest myself in any shape or form if it serves my purpose to bring any race to peace. And now the same has run across the universe. Let's see how the work and collaboration between the Chinese army, what we call space people, and the Iranian National Defense University and the Iranian nuclear physicists will bring mankind one step further to become physical travelers of the universe, or some of the development will concentrate on elevating the soul of the man to become the soul traveler of the universe. And the essence of two nations, one of the deep religion in God and one of the deep belief in what we call physicality, the communism. Equality in dimension of physicality and one in the elevation of the soul of the man to the absolute religious conditions of what we call beloved Muhammad. In so many ways, the two extremes meet, that in collaboration with each other, they find a path for the peace for mankind. I have invited the Chinese leadership in a certain way, that to bring the forces of Iran and China to become the example for the path of peace, to educate mankind, and with it, find, and the man decides, if I want to follow the path of peace and elevation through the soul of the man, or through the dimension of the physicality of the man to take it to spaceships and the rest. In so many ways, mankind has become part of the kindness of himself that has no other choice. And we leave you with no choice. We gave you enough freedom. Now we allowed you to be there to choose your freedom, freedom of the soul and the physicality. Maybe it would be better for us to see the video from the Temple of Mitra first. Then we go to the break. And then we come back and we talk. Maybe as today is the last day of the celebration of the Iranian New Year, and in so many ways, tomorrow is the beginning of the new cycle for many of us. Today, we are proud, at least we understand the truth about what is happening around the society of the man. And it's not only the man which is going through this process, but is the universal community, which is mature to understand the totality too. And as I said, every week we bring you another dimension of understanding. I welcome you to see the video made in Iran by the Iranian team. And Azar, as a member of Universal Council member, is with them. And you hear the voice of Hassan, Azar's Dr. Hassan, that they are together, brothers and sisters, to bring love of Creator in the love of the loved one, which is Mitra. Would you like to go and we watch this? And then we come back with a break, and then we let you ask questions. And maybe by then, you mature to understand the truth about the love of the Creator.
Greetings to the dear viewers. Here is the temple of Mitra or Anahita, the construction of which began in Parthian period and continued in Sassanid period. And you're going to see it in a picture that is coming. The shape was as follows in the picture. As you can see in the picture, that was the shape of it in the past. But now it has all been destroyed during the past time. As you can see, it's all been destroyed. At first, it was a temple of Mitra during the Parthian period. And with coming to power of the Sassanid, it had become the temple of Anahita, or the goddess of water, fertility, and abundance. This temple has never been completed because of the 25-year war between Iran and Rome. The statue that you see here is the statue of Anahita, or the goddess of water, which was made from a 20-centimeter statue discovered during the excavations in this area. Now let's take a look at the grounds of this building together. This temple site is located between Hamadan and Kermanshah in Kangavar city, on a land with an area of 46,000 meters, and is built as a ziggurat with length of 220 meters and width of 210 meters. The remnant that you can see are the remaining stones and columns of the buildings, which have been excavated from the ground since 1340. That's a Persian calendar. Previously, they were completely buried under the ground. The stones you see are cut and made of solid stones at the top of the columns and columns. The stones will come in. Of course, this place once was inhabited and exploited, but throughout history, with the change of different dynasties, to the point that it was completely forgotten after the advent of Islam. These are the remains of stones left from the main building, and you can see the precision done in some of these stones. As you can see, these are the remaining of a glorious temple. And these stones were pulled out from the rubbles, from lots of dirt, soils that they were buried under. So the columns and the tops of columns that you see were once standing and showed the beauty of this place. Very interesting thing is these pieces were cut from one-piece stones. We're going to look closely at some of these pieces that you can see that the precision of the cut. As you can see here, very precise cut can be seen on these rocks at that time. And this was about 2,500 years ago. But at the end of the Sassanid period, this building was turned into Zoroastrian fire temple and has been forgotten since the arrival of Islam. In the past, the Cultural Heritage Organization bought the constructed buildings from the people and began to demolish the buildings and restore the temple. As you can see here, now we can see the stones and some of these columns, and we can see the top of the columns. And these are the stairs that were cut from one piece. And these are the top of the columns. And also you can see the precisions of the cuts. You can see the columns. And these were all cut from one piece. You can see the precision here. The last group that came here to restore this building was from Italy, which was stopped by the outbreak of the coronavirus. And we hope that these activities will resume so that we can see the glory and the grandeur of this building again. Now we are moving toward the upper floors of this ziggurat, and as you can see, the building has been destroyed and there's only ruin left. But to some extent, the position of the structure is visible. As you can see, these staircase, very similar to Persepolis remaining. Many tourists visit this place every year. The region has been important place and was located in Western Highway of the Silk Road on the way to the connection of Hakamane to Ctesiphon and Babylon, and water-rich rivers flowed this region. You're all missed here, and I hope that one day you can come and visit this place. And visit this place. Now we're going to pay attention and listen to words of Mr. Qasemi, a well-respected archaeologist and expert on Iranian cultural heritage. Greeting, Mr. Qasemi, and thank you, and thank you for explaining about this collection. And we are at your service. Mr. Qasemi, now please, I congratulate you and viewers of Cash TV on the new year and welcome you to the Temple of Anahita or Mitra. This temple is the second largest stone building after Persepolis and the first single stone building in Iran with a history of about 2,500 years. This area has been an area of about 46,000 square meters, is built on a stone hill made of glass stone, and around this hill with a wall measuring 209 by 224 meters, which is length and width of our first platform. And this temple is created in 3 platforms. The first platform is 18.5 meters thick, and it's made of pieces of a stone, single stone, and soft gypsum mortar. And the exterior of the wall is decorated with cut stones in the form of dry porcelain. This is our wall facade, which, as I said, its stones were folded dry and without mortar, and sometimes they use metal fastener and raised the wall. This was a trough or water dropper is replaced to protect the walls when it rains and prevent it from being washed by the rain. These stones are prepared from the stone mines that were around this area. On this wall, we have a row of columns, about 48 on west wall, on both sides of our 12 southern stairs, which was the main entrance to the temple. A staircase on the south side that rises from both sides is similar to the Apadana staircase or Persepolis, and a 93-meter terrace on both sides of our south wall. As you can see, these are related to the south wall of the temple. The second platform of the temple is a stone platform, 93 meters long, 9 meters wide and 30 centimeters long, which is exactly the 11th length. The third platform, which is 32 meters above the ground and is the highest part of the temple where the main temple is located. This structure loses its use from the 2nd century, that's an Iranian calendar, after the change of the religion in Iran, and was abandoned for 2 centuries. After the Sassanid period, and then people built houses on this place. These houses' constructions lasted for 5 centuries until the 7th century, when the spring on the temple dried up due to an earthquake and was abandoned for 2 centuries. People built houses on it again, and patriarchal period from the 9th century until 1347. Again, this is an Iranian calendar, about 53 years ago. The deceased that you see in this photo, the late Saifullah Kambiaksh, came from the Ministry of Culture and Art at the time and bought the houses on the temple and did not. This is the first group, and the deceased that you see in this photo, the late Saifullah Kambiaksh, came from the Ministry of Culture and Arts at that time and bought the houses on the temple and did not destroy and excavate the temple, and they removed this stone area that was buried under the soil for millennia. This initial group of our exploration, led by Mr. Kambiaksh, Dr. Masoud Azarnoush, both of them have joined their and bless their soul. Evidence that surrounds the site shows that this site, even if it was turned into palace in Sassanid period, had the religious use before that. Even in the Sassanid period, this building may have been a Sassanid buildings. Our stone buildings have the same religious use and the same Anahita temple. But why? As I said, when you look at the stones, they do not have carvings or decoration that the palaces have. They're dry and lifeless, more like these temples that you should not look at the door and the wall, but you should think about Mitra for yourself and prove Mitra's popularity with counterparties. It's possible that Mitra was engraved on the back of Ahura Mazda in the big arch of Boston Arch in the coronation scene. Or it could be Mitrite temple here, which is the same structure from Sassanid as the Mitra temple, but the previous period in Achaemenid period, which is the cultural life of this area, 500 BC, which was tested and approved by Kyoto University in Japan. Mr. Ghasemi, what kind of a religious ceremony was done in this temple? Anahita is a goddess of water, abundance, fertility, and beauty in the culture of ancient Iran, and is a very popular goddess and a very well respected in society. What element can be more important for the farming community than water, soil, and sun? So all this is Iranian religions, ancient both in period of Mehrism and in the Zoroastrian period. All these useful elements have goddesses who are the guardian and custodian of these elements. Anahita, as I said, is the goddess of fertility, and men pray to Anahita to find good and pure wives. This goddess is very popular among the ancient Iranians, as it's the first time in the inscription of Ardashir II of the Achaemenid dynasty on one of the pillars of the Susa Palace. Another example that can be seen in Ekbatan Hill Museum in Hamadan is the Ardashir, along with the name of Ahura Mazda. Unlike his predecessors, such as Darius and Cyrus, Cambyses, etc., who only mention Ahura Mazda, also mention Mitra and Anahita, and says that palace that second built them to protect them from the disasters, and Mitra and Anahita is the big cities and capitals of that time. And Ardashir II, in order to build temples to basically protect from disasters. These temples of Mitra and Anahita in big cities and capitals built in that time. Can you explain about the city of Kangavar and its historical background? Mr. Qasim, Kangavar, the history of the civilization and use of human communities in this plain because of the water springs that have existed for a long time. And now we have 4 large springs and are the main tributaries of Gemasiab Stream. These water resources and fertile land have made communities that humans have lived in this place for 7,500 years ago.
این بارندگی مناسب، این منابع آب و زمین‌های حاصلخیز و دشت کنگاور باعث شده جوامع انسانی از 7500 سال پیش، یعنی 5500 پیش از میلاد تا کنون به طور مستمر در این دشت سکونت داشته باشه.
The city was located on the ancient road of the western branch of the Silk Road, as well as the royal road that connected Hekmatane to Babylon and Sassanid period to CEST. Mr. Ramani is asking, can you explain about the Boston Ark and the goddess Mitra who are standing behind Ardashir? The Sassanid Ardashir, the second that we see in Boston Ark, is related to the year 379 after Christ and 384 AD, who ruled for 5 years. After which Shapur III, who was the successor of Shapur II, came and took the kingdom. About Mitra, who is behind the Ahura Mazda in the Boston Ark at the coronation scene of Ardashir, we see that it said Mitra is located on a lotus flower. It was used by Zoroastrian clerics in religious ceremonies. And apart from the feature that represents Mitras, the same as the sun crown that is above his head. And later with the culture of Mitraism, this entered the European culture, and we later in the church paintings around the head of Christ. And Blessed Mariam and see a state of light, which is due to the same influence of Western and European culture in the ritual of love of the ancient Iranians. Mitra is the goddess of covenant and enlightenment in ancient Iran, which is very old and as far as we know has a 7,500 years of history of love in ancient Iran. Mitra is initially the goddess of covenant, and with the description given in the book of Avesta, it rises from the east and sets from the west. And it is narrated that he watched land of Iran with 10,000 eyes and dealt with those who violated their covenant. This coincidence with the rising and setting of the sun makes him the god of light and brightness. And I see the sun as a symbol of love and another name of the sun and the sun of Persian literature, which is the moon. And the moon, the goddess of covenant, and this the sign used by the whole world. This is the ring, and this is the wedding ring that is used in wedding ceremonies between the bride and groom. And this is in the culture of the Mitraism. And it turns out that this is the ring of covenant that is brought from the culture of love. And at the Sassanid coronation scenes, you see a ring instead of a crown. In the same scene, you see a ring that is around the king's head. This is the ring of friendship that the king makes with Ahura Mazda to be a worthy representative. And this is the ring that comes from the Mitraism.
در کنار دشت زمن میرفتن روز پیروزی تیشتر الهه آب در اکوشتی به خوشسالی در است نه به خاطر نحسی 13 میرفتن مردم در زمان زرتشتی هم قربانی های خونی منع شده بود دیگه کسی 10,000 تا اسب و شتر و گاو و گوسفند و اینها مثل اون شهرهایی که در اوستا هستن پادشاهان پیشدادی و کیانی ما این کارها رو میکردن دیگه اتفاق نمیفته و قربانی ها میشه همین حبوبات و خوراک مردم که اینو میرفتن پیشکش میدادن به آناهیتا در روز 13 فروردین آناهیتا به کشتارشون و محصولشون برکت.
Thank you very much for your time for us and Cash TV and our viewers.
Welcome back to the second part of the Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers program for this week. I hope we have learned a little bit more truth about Mitra and Mitraism, and in a way that we choose different names for the same process. As we choose gravity and alkalineness for the same property, and as we choose negative and positive for the same thing. We'll find out, and we have seen, and hopefully the members of the Egyptian group and those of the Chinese group and the rest of Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers in South America in time will produce programs to show how the same name has changed different directions and different languages to explain the same principle and ethos. This is the first documentary made for the Keshe Foundation television channel, as you heard directly, as the doctor thanks the KF TV. That was a pleasure to show. And we hope the rest of the knowledge seekers will follow the same procedure in producing a short documentaries in explaining different part of the technology and understanding of it. In so many ways, we now have the opportunity to do more through the Keshe Foundation television, and it gives you more freedoms as the news section separates and gets more power to be able to interact with the world government and scientists. And this is what we said, when you say you're from a television, people, this doctor was on a holiday, just being there, wanted to explain during his holiday even what it is. And this shows you a lot of power that camera carries. We hope that Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers gradually understand this and start building a history of man on a peaceful way and the way we came to be where we are. In the past couple of weeks, we had the pleasure of the Russians joining the Keshe Foundation TV, and hopefully we'll have more. The Japanese are about to come in, hopefully. And we build it gradually as to be all the knowledge seekers around the world have a voice in their programs. As I said, it will take us about a month to fully mature and have a full, what we call television program set. And the first programs, even the first one is getting loaded this week. And you should be able gradually to see programs piling up made by you and other documentaries. We're still looking for editors, professional editors and producers to take everything back to the next step. Thank you very much to Neil. Is working relentlessly in the background to make sure everything is there to be done. And we thank the, what we call the directors and our partners, NCG, that created this platform, and they are making every facility for Keshe Foundation to be broadcasted the correct way and the way it should be. Are there any questions that you might want to know? Now Rick comes with, I have to remind you, you can raise your hand. Are you there, Rick?
Yes, hello, Mr. Keshe. And yes, I will remind the attendees here in the Zoom chat that they can raise their virtual hands, and maybe you can't. That could be the problem why the hands aren't up. Let me have a look here. There, we have to check the raise hand box, and now the attendees can raise their virtual hands, and sure enough, a hand has come up from Mehran. So if you'd like to go ahead first, Mehran.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. Keshe. It's nice to see things for ourselves in TV. Well, I dare to talk about my own testimony in this place which saw, in fact, when I went to visit Kangavar and other places, we were not supposed to stay there a long time. And we went to see this Anahita, which was not very, which was a smaller place because there were people living. But there was a small imamzadeh there, like a big room for praying, just in the entrance with a place to wash and all that. And then I went to this place to pray. I washed, I went in. When I went in, I started crying. I just couldn't stop myself. And everybody said, okay, you have visited, you come. I just couldn't leave this place. It was very amazing. And I didn't know why, because it was a very humble place to pray. And I'm an adult. And it has happened to other places before in my life, like this, one other places. The first one was Mecca. When I arrived, I started crying. I couldn't stop. And in this place, it was like a child. I was crying like a child, which doesn't want to leave them. And that was very astonishing for me, because they said it's Anahita, and I didn't know it has to do with Mitra. And we have other places. We have Takht Suleiman also, which is very special. When we get in, it's a temple inside the whole temple. And when we get there, we just feel something. And the guardian said that people every year in New Year or equinox, those who do yoga and things like that, come around this place to feel this energy. And it was true. I could sleep there. There was such a big energy in Takht Suleiman. It's more in the west. So we have 2-3 places. The other one is in Shush, Daniel's temple. Very humble, but the energy is amazing. So thank you for this. That was my testimony. And thank you for teachings today. It was clarifying again things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I've said before, and was said by the doctor, this was on the Silk Road. They built the Silk Road to pass this place. My ancestors come from this village, from this city. My grandmother comes from this city. And I still remember when my mother used to speak, she still had some accents from this area. And I used to make a joke of her because I said, you come from Hamadan, you can't help it because we have a lot of jokes about Hamadan. And it's in a way, Silk Road became a route for mixture of cultures, where people from the East through the Silk Road, as was those days, not the Silk Road, but the trading routes between the Middle East, Asia, and Central Asia, the Jews, being people of the commerce, moved up and down this Silk Road from Palestine to Egypt, up to Iran, into Samarkand, and then all the way to China. That's how we find the ancient Jews in northwest of China. And in so many ways, this is where the knowledge and the belief and the commerce took shape in different shape and forms, but under the same, what we call banner, under the same principle, 12 days of Christmas, the Easter, the Jewish celebrations of about the same time, and the rest. In a way, as the people of commerce took their knowledge of what they've seen to the other places, people used that place and the new names to bring back what has been learned from somewhere else. And sometimes I wonder how much of what we know as Mitra and Mitraism has come from the travels of the universe. As they came here, they taught man, and the man took that up and changed it to Mitra and the rest of it, or in a way to the lover of the creator. Doesn't matter what name we put on it. And the child of the love of the creator, which comes to be both in physical and the soul manifestation of the creator. But it's interesting, it brought back a lot of memories where I used to hear things from my mother and my grandmother and my grandfather, that how it used to be. Are there any other questions?
Just to say that my mother is from here also. She lived a short time. My mother was born there. And thank you.
Thank you very much. There's a very special word for this. It goes together. We call it Hamadan and Chamadan. People from Hamadan, Chamadan means suitcase. They were always travelers. They always had their suitcase with them, traveling to another place because they were on the route of going to the east or west or south to much beautiful places within the Silk Road. And it's beautiful to be in this position, and hopefully Keshe Foundation in the next few weeks will open the first factory at the beginning of the Silk Road in Xinjiang, in central part of the China. And thanks to the Keshe Foundation team in China, we will see emergence of the Keshe Foundation at the root, at the beginning of the where the China was made, China potteries and what we know. And we were taken there by the officials some 2 years ago to start the negotiation and building of the first Keshe Foundation factory, where the Silk Road, the mother birth of it started. It's a beautiful city. I've been there many times. And hopefully in the coming weeks, you will see one of the most advanced Keshe Foundation factories built, operating at the beginning of this Silk Road in Xinjiang. And thanks to the Keshe Foundation team, they've been flying in and out of there, some of them in the past couple of weeks. And the new factory, one floor of it is especially designed for creating potteries made by Keshe Foundation through the GANS technology space development on this floor. What we provide now in the Keshe Foundation cups, more advanced versions of it will be produced in the coming weeks in China, in what we call Ceramic City, and you all will enjoy. In a way, Keshe Foundation reopens what we call the Silk Road, this time the silk being the knowledge, technology, and peace, and the beauty and softness of it. And it's a great pleasure to be part of this. And we see the next setup of the Keshe Foundation on the Silk Road in Tehran. The Keshe Foundation offices in Tehran is established and was opened yesterday or the day before by the knowledge seekers of the Iran. And it's a beautiful place to be in. It's a beautiful place to be part of. In the next couple of weeks, we show you the headquarters of the Keshe Foundation in Iran and beginning of the setting up of all the structures for the Keshe Foundation to produce and develop this, what we call Keshe Foundation technology on the Silk Road. And it's a very interesting thing. The dream of His Excellency President Xi to reestablish the Silk Road, the old way, the marathon way, because the Silk Road is not just a road. President Xi has opened the marathon routes of the Silk Road, all the ships, the way they used to travel different part of the world too. And we'll see that how the collection and correction of the time has brought us back some thousands, hundreds of years ago in how the love of the trade and trading commerce now become the trading love and peace through the knowledge and technology. It is a very interesting time for Keshe Foundation in moving forward to another step. Beginning of the Silk Road, we have taken shape, and we'll see where this Silk Road takes us to the beauty of the humanity. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a question in YouTube. Just a second here while I get it lined up. From I Am. Greetings, I have a question for Mr. Keshe. Firstly, I thank Mr. Keshe for giving so much of himself. Question is, once becoming one with the Creator, do we lose our individuality, our identity? And at that point, would we possess enough field strength to become a star?
I think this is the wrong way to put a question. Where we are now, as we said at the beginning of the teaching, how many souls and positions of souls have we had in that journey from the Creator to now? And do we remember any of it? In essence, we do. In essence, when a man matures to understand the process of creation, the memories of the trip from the Creator to creation will be clear. As every cell has the memory of which part of the man is and where it's got to take position because it understands the position of man, the structure of the man. So every field which has come from the Creator and in different positions in taking shape in its travel to where we are now has collected the memory of the point. In time, mankind will understand that even a single field of magnetic field as a plasmatic field contains all the knowledge of the Creator from the point of inception till now. The way our DNA works, the way our RNA works. And so, yes, we do. Does not matter when you have a piece of magnet, how many pieces you cut it into, they still have the beauty and the strength of the original magnet. And we are one of those pieces of magnet in a smaller diversion and conversion. We still carry the property, the beauty of the Creator within the structure of our soul. So, do we remember? But if we become pure enough to go within and understand the total detachment from the dimension of physicality? Yes, we do. In so many ways, I explained this to a theologist quite some time ago. Maybe now you understand more. Magnetical is a dimension of physicality of the man. Gravitational is a dimension of understanding the creation physicality of the man to hold on to. But on the other word, the same word, magnetical is the love of the creator, and gravitational is the pull of that love for us to return back to the lover. So do we remember? Yes, we do, because we are part of that bigger piece of magnet which has been chopped to smaller and smaller, but we still have the same strength and the same properties as the original. This is what, in a way, what we say, I made man in the image of myself, because man is part of that magnet which was created, was the creator. So we carry that, but we have forgotten that point of reference where we got cut off, or what was put together to make us does not deliberately or separately separated us from the creator. Yes, we do. If the easiest way to explain, get yourself a very long magnet and cut it as many pieces as you like. You will see it still has the same strength as the origin and the same magnetical and gravitational fields. So shall be the man and the soul of the creator. We have the full memory, the path to the creator, but because we are smashed up to so many pieces, we've forgotten which part of the puzzle we fit in. But in essence, is no other way to explain it than what I said regarding the magnets. Because when you spread and break up the plasma, it still carries the same, like the magnet. And the love of the creator is in the dynamic plasmatic field. It's very much, when you go back to original teaching, when a neutron splits into electron and proton, it does not matter about the size, but they still have the polarity, they still have the interaction of the fields, they still carry the same strength, but in different amounts that it dictates vision. In a way, when man becomes more mature in understanding how to break up the plasmas in different portions, he will see the same kind of understanding. In the coming time, we'll show you how the splitting of plasma will come, and in reality, how, for example, electron is created out of neutron, and it creates what we call electron and proton. Division of a plasma to a given specific strength is an art, and it takes thousands of years to master it. And be able to cut the best perfect cut out of it and get the result you want. In a way, some of the dynamic reactors were designed this way to do, but you never understood that the plasma can be split in a very special way. And in the development of the Iran space program, when we see the smaller reactor, this property is applied quite often by setting up a specific field reactions within the structure of the plasma. That you can split a plasma into given divisions. You can split it into half, you can split it in quarter size, but in a way you don't split it, you encourage the separation by creation of the environment. If you understood the process of the split of the neutron into electron and proton, and why always proton stays about the same in essence because of the conditions and the field strength of it, and the position of it forces that position. And if you were a nuclear physicist and could understand the structure of atomic structure of the boundaries and the electrons, we will see different electron size in different boundaries, because and due to the strength they need to position themselves not only with the proton which were created out of the neutron now, but in respect to the other electrons or protons within the structure of the atom. And this is an art that once man learns, he will learn in the what we call the space technology something very different. In the space technology and in nuclear interactions, we now look at a very different way of working. We say if it's a neutron, it splits to electron and a proton. But when it comes to atomic structure, we see the neutron and protons and electrons in a very different way. They are not positioned this way. They are positioned in distance in respect to totality. Then you will see how each electron takes position in respect to the field strength in respect to the total, where this is connected to this, but this one is connected to this. The more centralized protons are connected to the furthest distance electrons. And this, it teaches you a lot that you do not need to make your way to, but you elevate directly in the dimensional. So you can make as many electrons to fit in the same position. By understanding not the splitting, but the direct interaction fields, common denominator in the strength. In one of the scientific papers, I have touched on this knowledge, but mankind cannot comprehend this fully, because what will happen is that in the future, when we want to travel to a point in a space, we work on the coordinates like this, and depends where the galaxy or where the universe you decided will sit in this dimension. It's a part of the art of deep space travel. And then you understand how when we use the knowledge of splitting the plasma comes into operation. Not the strength of the plasma strength. In one process of space travel, we go into the inner sanctum by the strength. In another way of traveling, which is very, very advanced, much more advanced than the other, is we directly position ourselves by creating the field strength within the plasma that created that electron. So we directly take position in that electron. This way, you can travel the depth of the universe in a much safer and faster way, and you don't need to hop along or travel in a reverse line of physical position. This is an extremely advanced technology, but there's not the time and the place for it. How a proton is created out of a neutron, and how the electron has, as a totality, will keep the field strength of the dimension, but then you can create another electron which carries the same property independent of the position. And then you will see you can travel, manifest yourself instantaneously anywhere in the universe. This, what we call universal deep space technology, is very advantageous when you want to travel between universes. It gives you a totally different proposition in totality of the structure. This method of going to the center is good when you travel within your, what we call universe. But when you want to travel into what we call unicos dimension, this is one of the best ways. Any other questions? My telephone. Ah, I'm not connected.
Pardon me?
Stop sharing the screen. Stopped. It's flashing.
There we are.
There we are. We're back.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have a question in the Q&A from Salamea, who says, what is love? What is peace according to plasma science, the science of the soul? Thanks, Mr. Keshe. Much love.
She says, what is love and what peace? And it says much love. Depends what you understand of the love and what you understand of the peace. When you receive equal amount as what you give or you expect to receive for what you give, you're at peace. So balance between the lover and the loved one in being happy to what you receive brings you peace. And that's what it is when you find balance. When you find peace, you might give it 10, scale of 10, 10, but you're happy to receive 2, then you're at peace. But you can give 10 and you receive 9 and you're not still happy and you're not at peace. So the peace is a terminology in the expectation of the man, what it gives to what he receives, or you give unconditionally and whatever you give brings you joy. And that is called the peace too. Any other questions?
Yes, we have a question in the YouTube from O Mexicano, who is proposing to do an experiment with GANs balls, and he's wondering, or his experiment has to do with what would happen
with what?
With GANs balls with GANs in them,
Yep.
specifically with hydrogen GANs and with oxygen GANs. 2 balls with hydrogen and 1 with oxygen, to imitate the H2O, the H2O water molecule. So they would be in the same position as the H2O molecule. And he's intending or wishing to create water from this configuration. So is it possible to, through the imitation of the molecular structure, to create some of the characteristics of those molecules with GANs balls?
It is, why not? But how do you make your balls and how do you make the GANs of oxygen? We know how to make hydrogen, but how do you make the GANs of oxygen? And once you made it, how you bring it in attraction and interaction with the hydrogen to give you the GANs physical, what I call magnetic field dimension of the plasma of the GANs of water. The understanding has to be slightly indifferent in creating matter condition you call water. And that comes from understanding the plasma fields of the environment. You cannot have a rain of water in Jupiter or Saturn, where you have a liquid drop of another thing. But what does mean to have a drop, a liquid shape we call water? Water, creation of water is a very simple job if you understand it, because if you look at the Chinese space reactor, we showed you, we put plastic pieces on the floor to see the droplets. And droplets, if we had the 2 reactors here, were created mainly in this region. We could see it. And then it comes to how come 2 units create a condition of H2O. And in a given position, we didn't have rain droplets anywhere else except in this environment. How did we get to this point? And we have reported this during when it happened. It's to understand that you have to create a gravitational magnetic field of 16 to 2. But in a given position of 16 to 2, you can pick up plutonium and still create water if you know what to use on the other side of it. But that water will be plutonium water strength liquid. This is how we create sulfur rains in some planets and nitrites in another. This is the knowledge of understanding and knowledge of how you create fields within center. You don't necessarily need 3 to create it. It's understanding this process. Any other question?
Okay, we've got,
I can't hear you. Just wait. Can you repeat, please?
I was going to say we've got, we had Ed with a hand up here. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Ed, for putting your hand up again. And there you can speak now.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Keshe, the question, in trying to interact with the creator or different levels of the universe or universes, does this correspond in any way to the different levels of matter within us, the transitional matter and the principal matters?
Can you repeat that again, please? Our technicians in there.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I heard you, but
Okay.
I was doing something else in the background to get you back on the screen. You're
Well,
still learning how to work with these cameras. And they jump from one to another. You're not in behind it like me. I get all sorts of signals, and I'm supposed to interpret what it means. And sometimes the brain is a bit too slow. So I go somewhere else, and they're asking for something else. And gradually we get used to it. And the funny thing is there's 4 or 5 of these cameras everywhere. Can you repeat the question, please?
so my question is, and I'm sorry if it's a shallow question or whatever, but in interacting with the soul of the creator, or in trying to interact with different areas of the universe or different universes or places of this sort, does this in any way correspond to the different levels of matter within us, the transitional matter and the principal matters?
Partially, yes. Because we feel it at this matter state we are in. We are not in a matter state. Life of man in a physical dimension is not in a matter state. Matter state is a stone. Matter state is a chair. The life of the man, the way we are in a plasmatic state of what we call dynamic condition, where we can move, where we have organs which actively work to keep life. So, first of all, we are not in matter state. Even though it's technicality, we cover it with a cloth or whatever, and we still call it to be in the matter state. We are in the plasmatic state, and in that plasma state, yes, we have a chance, we can do and we can achieve. It's just how instead of being solid to become that position, we are a bit more freer to be able to reach that position. But we are not in matter state, no shape or form. In the operation of life of the man, the nearest thing to a matter state is your bone, which is the calcium. But the rest, even that calcium has life because continuously changes to fit the need of the man. When we look at the bone structure of the man, the calcium bone structure, the cavity in it, dictates the amino acid we produce as whatever. And so even that bone is alive. It dictates what energy to take, what energy to give, and what to leave behind. So man never been in a matter state. In the plasmatic dynamic state we are in, and more looser, which is the soul, we all interact with the bigger, looser, and stronger fields we call the environment and the solar system and the rest. Any other questions? Today, by the way, is April Fool's Day, and I waited till after 12 o'clock because after 12 o'clock doesn't apply. We are 12:01 or 12:02, so we can't play fools. This is strange. This usually doesn't happen, they say, but it's very strange that today is the last day of the celebration of Iranian New Year. And by tradition, tomorrow we close the 12 days of the celebration. And by tradition, we grow greens. And as you've seen it in the decoration table. And tomorrow we take the greens and we set them free on the rivers, on the floating water, to take the wishes of the life. And we see it in a way as the 13th day of the new year, where in Christianity on the 12th day of Christmas, you take the Christmas tree down. On the 12th day, on the beginning of the 13th day, by the Iranian tradition, we take these sabzes into rivers and we make wishes that we hope in the coming year it will happen. And as a lot of you know, I'm not very superstitious, but I don't do things on the 13th. It's just good to be out, not to do anything. And we see it as a bad omen in so many ways. It's just because, as we saw the statue of Mitra, or what we call the Anahita and Mithraism, Iran was what we call Zoroastrian nature, and Mithraism was principle of life. And when the Muslims came across the desert, they never seen such a lavish pasture, what they call it, pastures like Hamadan. They killed the last king of Iran before the Islamic world took over, and it was done on the 13th of the after Nowruz, which is tomorrow, and we see it as a bad day in the culture of Iran. And for that reason, we go out not to see the suffering of a nation losing its king, and it's become part of the culture of Iran, where the true freedom of the faith became strangled with a sword and knives and bloodshed. But now it still stays as part of our culture, and we don't work on the 13th. In a way, we stay away from doing anything, remembering the last king and what we call the kingship, which was in Iran, and the freedom of believing the true God. Any other question?
Yes, we have a question from Raphael in the Q&A, who says, he says it's a question from a knowledge seeker to Mr. Keshe. You said that a coronavirus is an energy pack, and under the right conditions, it materializes over a cell of the body. When it materializes, is that what our scientists see in the microscope? If this is correct, then if we put cup of life 1 and 2 on both sides of the microscope, would we be able to see it dissolve back into energy fields? Maybe the Iranian scientists have the facility to do this experiment and prove the truth of the technology to the world.
This is what happens in reality. We drain the energy. You see, as I explained when we in previous teachings we have seen, is that you have the cell and you have what we call a virus. These have their own entity. We see no physicality with the virus, but we see physicality in our cell. When the virus and the cell create the first line of contact, it says, hello, who are you? It says, I'm here, we have something to talk about. The virus, corona, comes as a field in interaction with a cell. In coming in touch is just energy and matter. When some of the energies of the virus in interaction with the energies of the cell interact, you get a residual, what we see as a crown. And that's what's called corona. We see it in different shape with other viruses. So what we see as what we call corona and the establishment of this is the interaction of the fields of these two, where partially manifests itself as a crown, or what we call corona. So it does not exist. And when we introduce a smaller package, whatever we call it here, which is in field strength the same in establishing a line. Because this had the same connection of the length, we start depleting the energy of the virus, and with it, we will see changes in this back to normality. But because we bring it to the balance to this, the energy of the virus will be there, but not as effective to damage the package, but in a way of what we see as an interaction field. Now is a three-sum game. You have your ganses, you have the cell, and you have the virus energy. That's what it is. We do not see total demolition of the virus. This is one of the biggest problems scientists have with the Keshe Foundation technology. They still see the energy of the virus, but they don't see the virus effectiveness. In a way, it's a kind of immunization, but instead of immunizing with little or half, now we produce, with immunization, more or less, we create a copy of the virus near us than we are interacting with. With the space technology, we put this outside and let it to interact with this outside and deplete the energy. This is one of the biggest problems scientists have. They see the virus is still in the blood, but they see no energy. And that's what is confusing them, because they do not understand the space technology as it is. Plasma technology does not destroy, allows cohabitation, but in a fair condition and a balanced fields. Yeah. Next question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We had a comment from Achilles Da, who says, is that Tang suit that Mr. Keshe is wearing today? It's awesome. I love it.
What is it?
Is it a Tang suit that you're wearing today? Tang? Or
this is a Chinese suit.
Yeah.
It was made there. It actually is a half Chinese Western style. It was very strange for the tailor to make it. I said, I want a Chinese suit, but I want a Chinese suit where I can still wear my tie. So I cut it into, it's cut here, open. Chinese suit usually goes all the way up to the top, and you just wear a shirt on there. But this is open slightly. They call it the Keshe suit, Keshe Chinese suit, they call it, where you still can wear a suit, but you still, the Chinese tradition is kept. It's a mixture of two cultures. It's beautiful to wear. I love the Chinese clothing. And in a way, when we got it made, the tailor had a good laugh at it. He said, this is never done. I said, now we do it. We mixed the two cultures. And I'm sure in the background, Wang Ling is laughing her head off because she was there when the tailor was trying to make it. Are you there, Wang Ling?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, actually, I'm laughing my head off.
Why?
Yeah, I still remember at that time how the face of the tailor looks like. They said, what? Okay, we can try. And finally, he made this suit for you. It's nice.
We are international, so we mix the cultures and even goes to the clothing and not just the food.
Mr. Keshe, getting back to that question about the virus under the microscope, would the scientists be able to see the disappearance of the material aspect of the virus under an electron microscope or some other type of process? Would it actually disappear visually?
It diminishes, but doesn't disappear. There's a big difference between diminishing and disappearing. It's what you do in vaccination. This is a vaccination through plasma technology, if you want to call it. And in the science of plasma, we never destroy and kill anything. We reach balance, we reach peace and equality, where both can exist. Because a virus still is a living thing, and it has to exist, it has to be there. And so this is the tape it takes. And yes, we see it. We had a lot of discussions about this with the health people. It's not effective, but it's still there. It's supposed to kill. And once they get used to it and they see people walking up, but they still carry the virus, they understand this is a now plasma vaccination, as they call it. But without any injection, but the finding a balance of peace. This is a part of what this energy will stay with us, which will make us peaceful. The energy of it will become to being stronger, needs a stronger environment, needs a stronger soul, and that soul being stronger will walk away from this animal behavior. We are observing in the background the behavior of the people who went through Corona. And majority of them have become very peaceful. They don't even recognize their own behavior compared to past. Even the pain of going through the infection, to them is part of the process of maturity. It's very strange. They all become very peaceful. And I'm keeping an eye on a number of these people who confirm to have Corona. Any other question?
Question has come up in the live stream regarding the use of the CH3 GANs, and from Freed, who says regarding the Corona, it was not advisable to use the CH3. Is that still true, as it would be needed for space travel, and can it be replaced or used otherwise?
We advise the CH3 not to be used, as the H is a common denominator, energy free, and the virus could have used it in the process. Now, as we go through the process of what we call achieving a balance, we recommend you can use it, but be careful in how to use it. And in the case of Corona state, try to keep away from it for a while till you settle the situation. Because once the balance is reached, as I just shown, then both the cell and the virus or what we call energy pack will receive the same. And being the same, so it doesn't create the mayhem. But when you reach that point of what we call the balance, you're safe more or less. But before that, we recommend not to, because there are two separate entities and they reach to maximum energy to be able to support. So what we call Corona being stronger absorbs more and creates a weakness in the cell. Now you reach the balance, both reach the same, achieve the same strength. And that more or less allows the elevation of the soul in a different way. Because now the soul has reached the balance because of the new condition. The cell has moved up, have found the position of peace and balance. So the soul, in moving up, finds peace and balance. If you remember, we discussed this about the growth of wheat and rice in Mongolia a couple of years ago. And when we start asking the farmers how they feel, they were much happier, they were much, they never got sick in a way, they wanted to work. So we saw the use of just being in the environment of the GANs has brought elevation of the soul and happiness and joy and existence. So we see when we get a virus, we come in the same position of the higher order. So the soul gets elevated by it too. And it's very interesting how the physicality and the soul of the man as an energy pack gets affected by interaction with the soul. And then it depends how we use it, how we see the position of the elevation of the soul. I'm sure many of you have been shocked with the teaching of today and the influence of the virus. and what it is and what is brought. And many of you, and when it goes in a what we call open spaces for the others to understand, it'll become very harsh to understand how a man could be in this position, that a virus is a tool to bring peace, and we say it has not. What it brings at the end counts, not the process to get there in so many ways, even though some are there to be the bridge. I explained this at the beginning of the corona to a couple of knowledge seekers who could understand the process at that time. In a way, the souls which have, we said people, so many people died of corona, whatever. These are that bridge which ants make, and each ant sacrifices life for the others to be able to reach to the other side. And it's not a sacrifice. This is knowing that I'm still alive, I hold on to the chain, and I allow the other souls to cross to higher elevation, to better pastures. And then when the time comes, I can let go and join them. This is the process of what we call elevation of the soul of the man. And at this moment of time, we call it so many million people. We don't know how many of them in reality took the path to be that ants on that bridge to allow the rest to reach home, or the safety of them, becoming closer to the Creator. But in essence, we are all in it together this time. And I don't see things in a way you do, because we know where it's come from and where the essence of it is, even though we work on the front line, trying to get the nations not to stop the injections or immunization, but to show there is a way that not only you immunize the physicality of the man, but you elevate the soul of the man with the same process that brings all of us to peace. Mankind and the society of man will change very much with this corona. We find fighting and wars impossibilities, doesn't matter who cries for it. We find injustices very much in the backfire. And we find mankind will find a solution, a way that we went through this, we can get through it. We just need a little bit more patience. We find a better way to educate, we find a better way to live, and we find a better way to spend our time, to put it in a useful way, in a peaceful way, to use the opportunity given to us by the Creator in any shape or form to create peace on this planet. And some people might say this is a cruel way, but how many millions of you have been killed in the war since Second World War? 20 million by the American forces, initiated by them. 20 million by the Germans. We saw the wars before, how many millions of us have been killed from wars over centuries. First of all, we don't see the death of 1 or 2 million people by corona as a death, but wasted, but we see it as a step towards world peace, towards the wishes of what it was. And these souls have not sacrificed. These souls have become steps towards the development of peace. This is the way the Creator works. In a way, teaching man to be generous, to give. Don't forget, not all of us catch corona. Those who have a different structure of the soul invite the soul. In the teaching in the past couple of weeks, in a very hidden way, I think it was in American teaching when I spoke about the apple in the shop. Is this you who go for the apple? Or is the soul of the apple which invites you to eat me, that I can transfer my energy to a bigger dimension and dominion? Up to now, you thought you choose the apple. But now if you think of it, the apple has chosen you to spread not its seeds, but the energy it has carried to a higher level that it can affect and change through the body of the man to a higher level. If you understand this process, you will understand that in the world of plasma, in the world of science, the true science of the universe, we don't look at the way you look at it in the matter state. And it brings a lot of joy to see I'm an apple, eat me, because this way I have elevated myself to a higher order to become part of the bigger part of the body of a man. And then it gives you a different understanding of the world of creation. You thought you were hunting, but in fact you were hunted. And this is what we have to understand as man in understanding of the totality of the creation. In a way, if you listen to the video, which wasn't translated, at the end, he says it shows that in the Mithraism culture, they did not sacrifice animals as they do in the others. They gave, if you saw him put his hand up, they gave food and fruits as a way for the soul of the creator to elevate, not to destroy. And in a way, by putting the seed away, you allow it to transfer its energy to the giver, to what is called the Mithra, the creator. And this is why I say people don't understand the true meaning of the Zoroastrianism. They don't understand the true meaning of Mithraism, which is the path of God. Where in other religions, especially in Islamic religion, we sacrifice animals. In the understanding of the Mithraism, we give food to the gods, which means we nourish them from the essence, not by eating it, but by transferring the energy from their life into their life, that they get elevated. And this is what has not been understood in the Western culture, because they lost the essence of giving by not eating it, but by transferring of the energy to the god or the goddess, that he elevates from the earth to the physicality and the soul of it. Any other question?
Well, perhaps we should cut things to an end here, Mr. Keshe. There's really a lot of problems with the audio and video, and we need to sort things out here. It's so blurry that we can't even watch the video for the last couple of hours here. So we need to get that straightened out, I think.
What is the problem with your video?
The video has been bad since the beginning, and the audio as well. And there's it's very, very poor resolution. It's extremely blurry. You can't even hardly see your image right now in the video.
Is to do with the internet, not us. And this is the problem we will have for the next couple of weeks till hopefully we move to new premises. Okay. We have replaced the internet connection, but in any way you can take it from the masters and to load it from the master video from the studio. There won't be any loss on retransmission, because the quality on our end is a high level, what you call TV level K4 and high the definition edge. And it's the cable line which you have, and they'll be sorted. It's the way the country is not developed fully, even though we live in Austria. The technology is not that advanced to do the way when we do it when we are in a city.
Maybe we have to go back to broadcasting TV from broadcasting stations on the radio waves to get something clear.
Yeah, I think that's what you're going to be done that way. But the quality we have on the TV channel is a high resolution, very clear, and the sound very clear, because we're testing, monitoring all channels. You got to go ask from the station here to give you the full version of the recording of the servers of here, that you can replace it, and it's 100% resolution. Yeah, I know you always complain about the noise and the picture, but we'll try to see how we can do it.
Today has been the worst it's ever been, Mr. Keshe.
Today's the 1st of April, we can accept it.
Yeah, that's right. That's something to think about. We're lucky to even be broadcasting today.
Okay.
Okay.
When we finish, we transmit to you the recording on our master disk from the television quality that you can reload YouTube and the others on it. Rick always wants the best, and when it's slightly out, it's outrageous, but it's okay. That's how we get better and better, because he always complained. At least he didn't walk out this time.
No, I'm just really complaining today, Mr. Keshe. We're getting lots of complaints on YouTube and live stream and everywhere else.
We try to do it.
KF TV is not as well.
This is not to do with us, it's to do with the bandwidth of the, what do you call, internet.
Well, there must be some way to get an internet service there that.
Oh, next week we sort it out.
Okay.
The new position for the television channel hopefully happens in the next few weeks. We will have a, what we call, cable television, directly cables, what we call it, the fiber system.
Right. That's
Hopefully. You know, people think because you live in the West, you have the best, but in fact, the third world nations and the others which should come late into technology, they don't have all the commitments of the past. They have a better system than what we do. But in the near future, it's all sorted.
Okay, very good. We did have a question from Ivan who says, Rick, I remember by January, Mr. Keshe said he will show soon how to make the cell phone battery charging with the little nano wire and GANs. I have not seen that yet, or maybe missed it. Can you ask Mr. Keshe to share this info with us, please, so we can start practicing on something practical between the workshops? Thanks.
Oh, you have plenty of things to practice. It is used, it was used in the first torch we showed. You can do it very easily, but you can do in a different form and ways by choosing the right nanomaterial and the right gases that you create that conversion. In the new enhancement units, we use this technology. As I said, we don't share it, and a lot of technologies in the new enhancement units are not shared, but this is part of it. Zero-time communication. We have what we call wireless communication between all the reactors, where they find the balance and the work of it and the energy transfers. We don't teach everything so easily as before because we got to see how humanity reaches the conclusion, but the hidden technologies in the new space reactors, especially the flight system, which is getting built up, uses all the technologies which we have spoken about. The combination of the fields, nanotechnology, and many others. Let's see how you catch up. And we are not there for you to see how we show you that you can copy and then never catch up. It's the process of understanding the technology, and we are very good in understanding and conversing the knowledge.
Does anyone else of our attendees here have a question for Mr. Keshe before we wrap up in the next few minutes here? Or
Rick, may I ask another question?
yeah, I wasn't sure if your hand was accidentally coming up there or not. Go ahead.
Mr. Keshe, in many ways, I think you've answered this, but when we use the GANs to help with the coronavirus symptoms, and it depletes the energy of the virus, but it's still hanging around, so to speak. Does that allow it to interact with us in a way to elevate our souls, but not so much have the physical symptoms?
In a way, you're working with a higher level of cover. So you receive a higher level energies. And this allows you to work in a much easier way. With a better understanding of the process of total energy bands. Mankind will come out of this experience in a very beautiful way. But it needs to be told, to be shown the beauty of it, than trying to create the mayhem they do today. When I hear that the governments are going for a lockdown, I see that it's a criminal offense because they don't let the soul of the man to interact with the energy packs to decide itself. They're not locking you down in your houses, they're locking you away from elevation of the soul in interaction with the fields. But we have to understand, sometimes some of us, when reach to that level, decides that physicality is no dimension to be in. Depends how you look at the life, depends how you understand it. And the truth is, we live so long to reach a point of elevation of the soul in 60s, 80 years old, 100 years old, where that elevation reaching the balance achieved in a very short time through Corona. Why do we leave the body? Why do we die? Doesn't it the point when the soul reaches a point of maturity and saturation that it can break through the boundaries of this, what we call the soul of physicality? Why do we see it as a bad thing? We don't commit suicide, but we allow our soul to decide the strength of where we want to be. Doesn't mean that when we survive using the ganses or whatever, our soul has stopped from reaching the point of maturity or goes to a higher level now that it can reach that point. Physical life is a painful life. I always said it's a sorrow life to be in the physical dimension, but sometimes we take this path because what we save in totality by the elevation of the other souls worth the sacrifice. Any other question? Can nearly 12:30.
Just checking over here, see if there's any last minute.
I think you had enough shock for today.
Yeah.
And we'll see how we move on and how the things take shape in the coming weeks and days. We hope in the coming weeks, we see a number of Keshe Foundation factories around the world become fully operational. Now that we've gone back into what we call research and development and commercialization, totally in different way that we started 3 years ago with other companies. We have restructured everything. Mexico is coming to operation. Mexico is different than the rest of the Keshe Foundation operation. We own majority share in Macre, and Macre owns a company called KF US, which owns the Mexican operation. So even though we start investing into Mexico, it goes through the Macre Corporation of the Keshe Foundation, as we are over 90% shareholder in that operation. We do not look at the market trend, as we know. When we introduced Macre within hours, Trump administration put pressure on the authorities to stop this technology through this company to expand rapidly. Shows the power of the technology of Iranian nation, as a ownership is on the name of Iranian. But we see this to change very soon with the Biden's operation and in our work with the Chinese, that the people will decide the value of the shares of the Keshe Foundation as a Macre, and not the administrations which are corrupt through and through. And in so many ways, it's a good indicator for the Keshe Foundation operation, that how people will see it and how it will come out, as we have now submitted the accounts for 2019 and 2018 to the authorities, and 2020 will be done in the coming days. As the head of the, what we call chairman of Macre, I have to inform sometimes the market what's happening, but the influence of the American administration on a company owned by Iranian name, it should not have affected the value of the shares, but it did, the way they tried to block it. And now we're going our own way. We are investing heavily into Mexico because it's part of us. Mexico is under a name owned by American organization, but in true title, we own it as a Keshe Foundation. And we started a massive investment project in what we call Mexico to bring it in line with the rest of the Keshe Foundation family, even though it's an umbrella of a different organization which is owned by the foundation. So you will see new products, new structures. Factory components are made in China to be shipped to Mexico. And in that way, you will see massive move in operation profitability and production in what we call Mexico Keshe Foundation factory under the banner of City of Tijuana. Is a lot of effort has been put in there by Armin and Angel, trying to bring it into a line. And you will see as we start supporting financially with Keshe Foundation Austria into the operation of the Mexico. As we see it now, we own the property and it's time to move. The same now has started in China. The same investment starts in what we call Austrian side of the operation. Iran is moving in a very beautiful way into a larger operation now. They have received their offices and they start operating from next week after the holidays. And we'll see where we go. And we're more or less getting balanced now back to where we were going 3 years ago, and others move to make sure it doesn't happen. Those who stopped us now find out that the power of will of the Keshe Foundation as the totality of us is much bigger than one or two people. But in a way, we are successful. And you will see a lot of changes. And you will see the promotion of the books, teaching the knowledge internationally has started as of yesterday. We'll see much more exposure for the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much, Chuck. Thank you very much, the whole of the Keshe Foundation team and people in the background trying to get these fuzzy pictures to you, Rick, which you don't like and have fuzzy voices. But gradually we get better. As is a teething problem now that we got the television right, we got to go back to Zoom and the other side to get right for you that you're all stay happy. Thank you for today. And I hope the knowledge you gained today brought you some truth about the facts of life. Now, when the man doesn't move, the creator moves to move the man. Thank you very much and see you next time.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for another Knowledge Seekers workshop here. This has been the 374th Knowledge Seekers workshop on Thursday, April 1st, 2021. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. And we'll see you next week at the same time and place for another Knowledge Seekers workshop, as well as there's the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace, which will also be broadcast to KF TV on Tuesday coming up next week. And that will be at 4 p.m. Central European Summer Time. Okay, thanks everyone. See you next time around.
innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge in a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered, which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information. Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. KesheFoundation.org/donate.